Hello and welcome to where am I? Oh yeah, They Were Lost. Or They Were Lost. They Were Heroes, a DnD5e game. And today we have Lila. And who are you bringing to the table for us today?
I'm bringing Rust, the Lost.
So, why don't you go ahead and start telling us a little bit about Rust?
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh jeez. Okay. Oh crap. Where do you want me to start? Because like,
Well, let's have a small description of Rust.
okay. Appearance-wise, Rust. Um, most people just see essentially a hodgepodge of armor, bits of plate, leather, sometimes slabs of metal that are just all tied together, wrapped up in a old, dusty looking duster jack. They're a very American thing, and I'm not American, so I'm not entirely sure what they call it. The like duster coats, right? The really long.
Yeah,
You typically see in westerns because there's a western game, so of course I'll. Yeah,
it gets a point across.
yeah. Most of the armor is painted black to hide uh, damage parts. And it's just hodgepodge that it does its job, but it doesn't provide defense very well. Her face is masked by both a typical, stereotypical bandit bandana and a on top of it, a domino mask, and a very large wide brim hat that she always tilts down. Though anyone will be able to see a long strand of silver grey, a long silver grey braid coming out the back.
So tell me
Marking her
exactly
as someone old.
tell me exactly how someone like Russ got stuck in this world, per se.
Well, get ready for a very atypical character after you guys have listened to very standard westerns. Rust is this world's version of Warforged. Rust is what they call a Nox, a person of metal. She is old, like old as balls, from an empire that has long since turned to dust. She woke up maybe a year ago at some dig site, got the gist of the gist of what happened. The fact that everything she knew was gone, and the people that created her kind to use as servants or rather slaves are long since gone. But the dig site was soon raided by bandits, coming to claim whatever prize from already excavated ruins. It's a convenient attack. And Rust herself wasn't fully awake yet. One of the bandits made off with her face, which is not exactly detachable, but it was loose. The face of a Nox is special because there's a lot of magic in them. They got a mark on their forehead that gives power and personality to the Nox.
Can you describe this mark a little more?
Picture a swirl, like, God, think of a Naruto Leaf Clan swirl inside of a six-pointed star.
So
The
she
mark
woke
is
up in.
dead center on the forehead.
So she woke up in this random dig site. What town was it particularly nearby? Since I guess this would be your artificial birth.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I didn't think about that. I mean, looking at the map, there's a lot of options on this here map. We'll say it's in the Arcus district of the area because, hey, guess what empire she belonged to? Um, we could go. We'll say the dig site was more or less somewhere south of Proach.
So after waking up with that jarring incident, how did Rust find herself in this land? Was it difficult? Did she make enemies? Was she able to find any allies?
She did find an ally, and I think I got his name. One of the archaeologists that survived the attack. Um, I did write it down. No, I didn't write it down. One of the archaeologists who survived the attack, he assisted her, essentially getting her modern clothing and stuff to hide her face. Because what better ancient study than someone who can tell you about the ancients? She essentially traded information for modern day cash and the like. Um,
Or what was his name or her name?
um, we'll say his name is Barty Baxton, yeah. Because I'm not being clever right now, and alliteration's very handy.
So Barty giving you aid via gold dollars and silver dimes, trying to give you a better lot in this land.
Mhm.
Why don't you go ahead and describe, without your face, what it is, what kind of visage do you have compared to a regular human or humanoid in this
So,
land?
about after the, like, picture a standard face with some, just a normal person's head, and they just remove the skin on the front. Except that in this case, the skin is a magical metal flap. Um, in Monk's blackened, no, let me start again. Essentially, there is a black skull, eyes somewhat glowing green, literally made out of emeralds, um, with not a grinning visage, but the fact that it's a naked skull has the teeth always visible and such.
So a very Terminator vibe.
Oh yeah, saying that would have been really handy. Yeah.
So did Barty have an issue with you? Was there a conflict immediately, or
Oh yeah, that was screaming.
so it wasn't a very pleasant waking, and with him being injured and you coming in, how did the friendship? How did was it able to blossom? Essentially,
Well, after screaming, going conscious out of fright, and Rust realizing that currently he was the only one around, considering the others had either fled or perished. She tended to his wounds and let him wake up on his own. Tied him to a post though, so when he did wake up and try to run away, she could actually get something out of him.
so how did Russ take the idea of coming from a bustling metropolis to an almost dystopian, like post Armageddon worldscape where 20% of the world's water immediately was gone? The idea of magic being so foreign that you even talking about something as simple as arcane knowledge is baffling and ancient. How did she take this?
Poorly, to put it simply, because where she was from, the Acacian Empire, they were an empire built on magic. To hear something that was literally as common as flowers, as grass, go to mythological, shook her more than the lack of water.
So she is capable of emotion and empathy.
Oh yes, she has the full range of, well, she's cold, definitely, especially after what has transpired. But the Nox were people. They had like, and Rust herself has emotions and empathy. Obviously, she can't really display it with her face, considering there's not one there. But you know,
Understandable. You can only work with what you have.
yeah.
So, with the ally through Barty, did you two of you lead to next? Because you were south of. Let me go up and check.
Yo.
South approach. So, where was your first homestead? Where did you guys rest first?
That is actually a very good question. Um, do the forts have towns outside of them, like
Yes, they
normally?
are. Well, most of them, yes, but some can just be military outpost only.
Hmm. Was Fort again one such?
It can. You have pretty much free reign on describing and
Okay,
coming up with stuff that
so
hasn't been touched yet, and I'll let you know
we'll
if it
say
has.
that they made for forts again to warn the local military of roving bandits. Of course, roving bandits are a given in this world, but considering this chunk of the region has more greenery than the others, um, bandits attacking traders carrying fruits and the like is somewhat more common. And no, definitely not. She had enough to mask her face, but someone walking around with silvery skin was definitely seen as odd. Eventually, she just started moving at night rather than at day, which caused some rumors considering. Picture this: at night, you come out of a bar, you're somewhat drunk, you start walking, and out of the corner of your eye, in a back alley, you see loom a tall looming figure with a blackened skull and glowing green eyes. That's
So,
those rumors.
she was subtly creating ghost stories. That could be something
Yes.
interesting about your legends once we get there.
Hmm. Um, Rust wasn't, with the way she was hiding herself. She was seen as an leg irregularity. There we go. That's the word. I can speak. Um, Eventually putting aside concerns by simply saying it was a disfigurement or a skin condition.
Did you come up with that, or did Barty help you with that?
Rusted. Body wanted to go for the truth, but Rust didn't know how humanity as a whole, because she doesn't know how good the messaging system was at the time, which is very poor. Humanity as a whole would take a reawakened Nox, since she believed they were symbols of the empire, and those who weren't lords there were kind of downtrodden.
So, with being somewhat magical, has Rust had any trouble with the witch hunters and ruin hunters? Have they been chasing her, or because you're magical in nature, which would become an issue if you ever encountered some of the magic hating individuals in the witch hunter order or the ruin hunter order?
I imagine one of the orders caught wind of, just got a general idea of, okay, this matches something we know about a magical creature, like chasing rumors, but not chasing her yet.
Does Rust know about this?
I think she knows of it, of the orders in particular, and imagines that there'll be a threat somewhere down the line, but doesn't know that they might be actively after her. Um,
So, what is some of the hardships that Rust had to endure after finding their way to Fort again, leaving there, and eventually getting her trademark large metal dome-like hat to help obscure herself?
he is not male, but um, well, there's a reason she calls herself Rust. It's not her real name. Nox names are tied directly to their marking, and without it, she decides, well, that ain't me until I get it back. Um, despite being built to last, she obviously has rusted a little bit. Um, Rusted is exactly the correct word considering the magical nature of her body, but her movements are far slower than they were when she was originally made.
So she is definitely not at her prime.
Definitely not. I mean, she's missing a face. That's a pretty good indicator of lack of prime.
What would she have been like at her prime?
Um, Less of a person and more of a force. As I said, the Occasion Empire were built on magic, and they created the Nox as, well, partially because they had the Empire's magicians had a god complex, and partially because they needed a obedience and never tiring workforce. The Nox who were made to be guards were symbols of power. To an ordinary person, they would be super strong, possess magical abilities that would be able to destroy beasts and men alike.
So how did Nox take this waking back up and realizing a lot of the things that made her who she was has either failed on her, stopped working, or betrayed her completely, or has been stolen?
There was a breakdown, a mental one, not a physical one, at one point, which led to a few smashed rocks. She's coping by ignoring, essentially, with the idea that once I get my face back, I'll have all my powers back, because the magic is in the symbol.
So she doesn't have a clue, or at least a full notion of what happened to the mask yet. She just knows that bandits were involved.
She has an idea, yes. She's learned that of like what particular band of bandits took it, and it's somewhat known that the leader of said band has a Nox mask. Considering the coincidence of that, it's a bit hard to say those aren't related.
So with what is it something that's going around common knowledge that's a Nosk mask, or has people just been saying he has something that you believe?
Like that, it's like people don't know about Nox anymore, but there is rumors of like survivors of bandit raids. Like the leader he essentially has what appears to be the face of a woman attached to a rod that allows him to use magic. Oh well, to most people who don't fully understand it, have terrifying witchery.
Alright, so you have the benefit of they're not using it to its full capabilities, and they don't know what those capabilities are so far. So with that being known, why don't you tell me more about these bandits? You know of them, do they have a name, or does she not know it?
I don't have a name for the bandit group in of itself, but I got Geralt Greybeard as the bandit leader. Famed for having a beard turn grey in just his 20s.
That's an interesting fact. So we now know that she's basically been, well, shafted ever since she woke up. How long have you been traveling with good old Barter? Barty.
Well, they traveled, I'd say, for a few months, but she eventually split off from him. Just essentially made sure he could get back to a lot of his team or a lot of his, what's the word? We'll say college. Guild, college, you know what I mean?
Well, if he's archaeologist, he was probably doing it on his own chance of glories and witches.
He did get some, like there was some jewels found that he kept secret from Rust. She did find out, leave it at that, because it's not worth it right now.
So with him leaving Rust and going on his own way, what has Rust been doing with her time? Has she been hunting after these people? Like, what has been her goals?
It's a mix between study what happened and gain knowledge of the world as it is now, and definitely hunting down the bandits. Of course, being bandits, they are elusive. Even if they do have a base, they either hide it or change the base's location whenever it's too inconvenient to stay in one place for too long.
Right.
So has a trail to follow, but it's a constantly moving, hazy trail.
So ever since she's woken up, has she encountered anybody that required fatal force?
Yes, that's how she got her gun, her first gun. See, when she woke up, she still had a sword with her. It's functionable. Whatever metal it's made of is probably the same as her own bones, so it lasted the ages, but not in a good state. She managed to get it back to working order. I mean, you can cut stuff now, but it's not a nice sword anymore. All the jewels on its pommel and everything have been picked clean. That's not an issue to her.
So the person that she was able to kill, was it just one person, or has she added quite a number to her retinue of graves left behind?
It would be about a total of 6 right now, but the person who jumped her was just 2 people, one of which ran away. Because when you have 2 people and you shoot at someone and you watch the bullets bounce right off them, you know, don't want to stick around.
Alright, so one person got away.
She's also very, very annoyed about gunplay in general. Because there's a sense of honor that she still has, a sense of chivalry and doing battle with either your fists or your weapons, and that swords and daggers and whatnot. That's how humans should fight. Or humanoids should fight, she believes, but firearms are just odd. She's forced to quell her distaste because of this circumstance, but yeah. Also, her dampen reflexes mean that most guns, she can't aim them very well. Shotguns, on the other hand.
Oh, so she has a specialty.
Less specialty and more, I'm probably not going to hit most people with, standard pistol, but if I walk up to someone and pull a trigger on a shotgun, I'll probably hit.
Alright, so she favors a shotgun compared to more precision weaponry. Has she been shot before? To the point where she's been injured?
Yes.
How did she take that?
Likened it to an arrow wound at first, then found it difficult to remove the bullet. To say the least, this was she managed to escape the situation because it wasn't a good one she was in. Some of the bandits had caught wind that not the bandits she was specifically after, but some criminals and all that were hearing someone wander around town asking questions they shouldn't. And they caught Rust, ambushed her. She got away, but it was probably the first time she was properly injured with bullets, and wasn't a good situation for her.
Is this where she took on more of her traditional look?
Yeah, she started searching around for stuff that reminded her of her old life, armor and the like. A full suit of plate mail is not very common, obviously. She scrounged up what she could by, scrap metal, half plate essentially that someone was showing off, and she may have nicked.
Did she have someone that she ended up making cordial relationship with that blackened it for her, or did she do it on her own?
Pardon?
Because you mentioned before that she has black armor, right? Because that wouldn't be common. So, did she have someone do it for her that she made friends with, or did she do it on her own?
No, she bought the paint on her own. So this is actually grounded in somewhat historical fact. The classical Black Knights are essentially knights without proper masters or fiefs to call their own, so they don't have the servants and whatnot to constantly patch up armor. So the black paint is both there to gum up small cracks and to hide the damage. Because when it's in constant motion, and maybe if it's dark, the black paint hides some of the... Say for a classic plate armored figure, if the left side around here was, say, cracked from a sword stroke, or hammer stroke more like it, the black paint would hide all of the crack marks, meaning that an opponent probably wouldn't go straight for that. So someone can easily see it's hodgepodge, but they won't be able to easily notice the weaker parts. That was the intention of black paint.
And coming around here after getting that armor, I'm sure that there's been a lot of talk that she's been made of being the Black Wanderer, the lost that comes around asking for bandits.
Yeah, there's actually a few rumors that started, but we have a Legends tab, so we'll save those rumors for that.
Oh, sounds good. Excited for that. So, we have the person that you made allies with. Has there been anybody else that she's particularly, made a connection with? Or has she been out hitting the wilds and the deserts by herself?
It was more of a temporary connection. See, she walks into towns, and if she can, she'll find bounty work to do. It reminds her of what she used to do, which is hunting down criminals and evildoers and all that, and also gets her much needed coin. She doesn't eat as other creatures do, but still needs coin to maintain weaponry and such, and to bribe people. Mainly to bribe people. A lot of money spent towards bribes.
So who was the person that you made a connection with?
The source of a particular bounty, it wasn't a proper bounty. Proper bounties are put out by the by local law enforcement. hey, any idiot wants to kill this guy for us, essentially. This bounty was from a nunnery, a small priesthood. They didn't have much to spare, mainly because of all the money they had came from donations, and there was precious little of that. And after, while other bounty hunters in the area would go for the proper paying job, she went to them and took up their cause and befriended some of the locals from it. Though never revealed her face. That was a very important fact.
And
Skull, rather.
where was this nunnery from? Where
Oh,
did she get
let's
to
find
this?
out. Hmm. We'll say it'll be in a smaller town, so less than Fort. Maybe Haven?
Alright, so she made friends with the nunnery there in Haven. I'm assuming they might have been a nunnery of the one.
The one, yeah. Again, that's a source of bafflement. While there were deities and worship back in her day, some of the ones' iconography doesn't sound familiar at all. And
So it's new to you.
Yeah. And what she worshipped was less of a god and more of a force. The Arcasian Empire called it the Eye of Magic. It was a theorized location where all magic in the world came from. And it was, well, praised as the source of magic and worshipped as a deific force, as if it had intelligence. And a lot of rituals the Arcasians carried out were in the belief that making the symbol of the eye and would draw some of its power, would draw some pure, most powerful magic out. She views it in a more practical light. If it's a source of power, it's a source of power, and shows it worship in a respectful way, but not a devoted way. Well, yes, devoted, yes, because it may as well be where her life force comes from, but yeah.
Alright,
She's not going to walk around saying, oh yes, please worship this, especially considering the One is called the One for a reason. There's very few other churches these days, from the sound of it.
Yeah, there's not many pantheons accepted currently, but we're starting to run a little bit low on time, so let's go ahead and jump onto those legends.
Oh yes.
So, why don't you tell me some legends about Rust, the Lost, the Black Warrior.
Alright, so, the first legend is the ghost story, the Skull Wanderer. They say that because this is tied into rumors of people investigating where she came from and finding the emptied out and corpse-littered dig site. It's like the rumor is that whatever they found there was some undead monstrosity that rose and is hunting down something. Always moving, never resting, always trying to hunt down something that was taken. Yep. Of course they say, oh yeah. Well, with the first one, of course they say that the creature kills anyone that sees it and whatnot, but whatever. That's to be expected. The other one is more related to Rust herself. It's the bulletproof thing. Like, they say people have shot her in the head and it's just bounced off. Because it has. Like, the skull is metal. It left a dent and hurt like fuck. But, yeah, she survived. Oh, yeah, so her face area is just the skull, but the back of her head is still there. Hence why there's hair and such.
Alright, so they say that she is bulletproof, that no conventional mortal means can slay this creature. Alright. What else?
Um, the other is one that's built on the fact that she always hides her face. The rumor is that she's either a bandit, a bounty hunter. Like, she's a bounty hunter, always covers her face. So the rumor is she's either a bounty hunter or a bandit or some lawman that everyone thinks has died. Maybe a famous criminal who went missing abruptly, thought to be dead, and they say like that person is actually her true identity, who has returned to seek vengeance or try to cover their tracks.
So they even confuse her for people she's not, which I'm sure only builds up the legend more of this wandering creature.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and the last one.
They say that her touch can bring the dead back to life. This is combined poorly with the first one, because like the Skull Wanderer can raise the dead of whoever it is slain, but Rust herself still has some of her magic, and it's technically divine in nature and can heal wounds. Not bring the dead back. Bring the dead back is something that's nigh impossible. But by expending some of her energy, her touch can indeed heal wounds, and she may have been seen healing someone who was on the brink of death, but not actually dead.
Alright, so these 4 legends. You hear about that creature out in the sands? What, you talking about the one that came from Arcus? Yeah, I heard they dug up something that messes with the plumb reckoning of the one, they say. It's a demon, a beast that never stops. Oh, well, I heard there ain't not a thing that no one made that can even pierce its skin. She could take about 50 shots and just keep walking. If you ask me, I heard rumors. Saw some witch hunters coming by, saying that they're looking for someone that was dead. I think she might be Plum Rick, or one of those Navy boys that died not too long ago, came back from the dead, hunting for revenge. Well, if that's true, then I know. I swears it because I saw it with my own eyes. Because I saw her. She raised the dead, she did, with a single touch of that demonic hand. And those would be the legends of Rust the Lost.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so we have made it to the final part of our journey of this poor creature looking for what was taken from her in her past.
Which reminds me, I need to actually make up a proper name for her if we ever get that face back.
Hey, who knows? Maybe it'll be soon. Maybe it'll be 3 seasons later.
Oh.
But let's go ahead and go over our last 10 questions to make sure we have everything answered that we can. So, first up is, where are you from? Which we kind of answered.
Where's she from? From is the capital of the old empire, Arcus. Which matches.
Alright, and next is, what is her family like? Which we kind of didn't actually touch up on. What was her family like?
So Nox don't have parents, obviously. They are builders. But anyone within Noxes are basically built in groups of 5, and those 5 are your brothers and sisters. They're normally kept within the same uh, duty, simply because their chassis is the same. And like the she and her brothers and sisters were friendly whenever they would meet. They rarely were able to see each other um, because of their individual positions, but when they meet, they were friendly and tried to catch up. But whenever they were on duty, if they even saw each other, they'd act cold. Duty is different from,
Right.
cruising time.
So it was a very strained, but it was a respectable relationship,
Yeah,
but it was strained.
it was strained simply because of duty.
Has Rust ever tried to find them? Has she been able to find any? Actually, this is something else important. Has she been able to find any real proof that she actually isn't just the last Nox left on this planet?
Not solid proof. There's always rumors of metal men, but occasionally it's just people wearing heavy suits of armor, or like one time she swore she saw a Nox's glowy symbol thing at the corner of her eye. Must have been in the middle of a crowded thoroughfare, but when she looked to see it, that individual was gone. And it doesn't help that Nox weren't just humanoid. There were some that were built specifically for, say, agricultural work, who had quadrupedal forms, meaning what she's looking for might not even be humanoid, and she might be missing entirely. So no, she doesn't have really solid proof. She just has rumors, and I saw this out of the corner of my eye.
How does she take with this isolationism?
It's wearing down on her. Not that the Nox were like, yes, the Nox did form family units, but she really didn't. But over time, shell shock is setting in essentially.
Poor girl.
Hmm.
So we have that information at hand. And we know a little bit more about her family life and how Nox treat each other, or at least in your case. What is your social class in the new world, essentially, for you?
Um, hmm. Definitely on the low side, just a homeless wanderer, bounty hunter.
But obviously good in, ooh, what time was that? Haven, there we go.
Yeah, we're back.
So you have
That's
a
what you
good
got,
relation.
right?
Oh no, I was looking for where the information was, but she has a good relationship with the people in Haven.
Yeah, we'll say
Yeah.
yeah.
Has that been able to spread out, or has it been pretty localized there?
Pretty localized.
Okay.
She's also, so we get get this done now. She has been to one of the major cities. Um, there's been a bit of a tingle throughout her entire body as long as she's been in there, but it hasn't affected her ability to move and think.
Did she ever investigate on what that could be by? Like, does she know about the legendary swords in all the 7 major cities?
she would have heard like simple questioning would say, "Oh yeah, here's the legend, you know. They say we're safe from witches here," and like her own healing hands wouldn't have worked in the sea. Maybe? I mean, it's a class feature, so.
So,
Yeah,
it,
it's like it's sourced in magic, so
yeah.
wouldn't have worked.
So that would have been something that she's been surprised of.
Would a druid be able to wild shape in one of those cities?
You won't know until it happens.
Yeah, we don't have a druid in the body. Unless PJ is, and that's gonna be. Oh, with the voice I've heard he's gonna be using. Oh god. Anyway,
So next is, what did you do before you became an adventurer, which we touched up on.
yep, she was, to put in proper words, a royal guard.
All right, and next is why you became an adventurer, which unfortunately is kind of attrition.
Yeah,
And
attrition and the hunt.
exactly. Next is, how religious are you? We kind of skirted across this.
Yeah, she's definitely devoted to the Eye of Arcane and still makes occasional prayers and maybe signs towards it, but has made sure to not do that with an eye shot of anyone, essentially. She doesn't know what's the deal is with the one and all that. Yeah. She's definitely not going around spreading her religion. She's going to keep it in tight, especially since she believes it's the Eye of Arcane is the source of her power, the source of her life. So, if it is a force with sentience and she doesn't know if it is or not, appeasement may be one of the only things keeping her alive.
So she's devoted and respectful of what it could do, but not necessarily making propaganda about it or basically being an evangelist.
Yeah, that's the word. Jeez, we don't have many of those in Australia, so I kind of.
All right, so 7. Who are you best friends with and worst enemies?
Well, we got that answered. Barry, wasn't it? Barty?
Barty.
Barty. Wow. Barty and Gatto. Gattolt? Friend and worst enemy, respectively.
All right, and next is, what are your prized possessions?
Well, her face isn't there, so I can't answer that. Wow, that is really narcissistic. I think about it. Let's be fair. She was probably a looker. Her sword. It is one of the few remnants she has of her past.
Anything else?
Um, we'll say she has a bit of Nah, yeah, we'll keep with that. Just the sword.
Alrighty.
She's very scarce on what survived, you know.
So next up would be, who are you loyal to?
Right now, none but herself. She'll obey the laws of the land and the laws of whatever place she goes to, but to say she's loyal to that, not exactly.
Alright, and finally, who is it that she loves and who is it that she hates with all her ire?
The hate is the easy one. It's just that bandit, whether the individual guy or the bandit captain. The hate for that is quite an obvious answer. As for love, to her, guess she never fell for anyone. She kind of had the capacity, but she never found anyone. Oh yeah, and there's another hate. The Nox were built to obey their masters, and that programming was there. And now she's awake, it's gone, and she realizes there's blossoming hatred towards those that made her, for essentially enslaving her kind. And she's realized that it's a useless hatred, that anyone left is just ash and dust, not even bones, and doesn't help.
But it still eats at her when she sits down and rests for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so we have a lot of information here about Rust the Lost. Anything that you want to add while we're about to go out of here?
I'm playing a paladin, and I really fucking love paladins, so I'm so excited.
I'm really glad you're excited. So,
wait,
yes.
we never found out where the cannon shield came from.
Oh yeah, that is something that you have. Why don't you go ahead and describe that?
The cannon shield, or where it came from?
Yeah, how she got it, or where it came from.
Actually, I'm gonna need more time on this, so let's workshop this when it comes up in the game itself.
Sounds good. But
That's all we could just have look at someone and say, you really do not want to know.
oh, that sounds ominous. Like it.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Lila, for coming out and doing this session 0 with me.
I'm so tired.
So, thank you guys for watching. This has been Nightxgamer for the session 0 for They.Were.Heroes. Lost. Or Rust the Lost.
You got it right eventually. Get PJ's ass in here.
But thank you guys for watching. We are going to be streaming on this channel tomorrow at 12:35 p.m. CST for Empire of the Lost next season 2 and that continuation. But we're about to roll out of here. Remember, you can follow me at Nightxgamer at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon if you want to support the channel. Remembering liking, subscribing, following, all the things that you can do is a huge help for the channel, and really just being involved is a godsend to us, because we do this because it's fun, and it's fun to have people watching and enjoying. But we're going to go ahead and head out of here. Again, Lila, thank you. And we will see you for the next and the last character development session 0 for PJ and his character. So, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.